Hi all. Right, welcome to a new playthrough. This is PAX Pamir second edition. This will be my part one of this playthrough. PAX Pamir second edition, designed by Cole Worley, uh, and it's his own company, isn't it? Whirligig Games, I think it is. Um, Right, I had this game for a while, played it a few times. This is going to be a solo playthrough, obviously, as everything I do is that way. Um, so I played a few games of this in the past and really enjoyed it against the bot. The bot is designed by Ricky Royal, isn't it? Ricky Royal, that's not his real name, is it? That's just his. Is it in the rulebook here? Maybe not. Yeah, here we go. His real name's Richard Wilkins. Yeah, but you might know him better as Ricky Royal. He's done a lot of videos on solo games, designed and eventually got around to designing some solo systems. This being one in particular. I've watched lots of his videos. Pretty sure what he did as well. If you ever played Mage Knight, I'm sure you watched that. His videos probably got me involved in that game. Done a lot of other games. And Cole Worley's done a few games as well. But it's the solo side of things, obviously, that interests me more. And it's a pretty decent solo system, this. It is. I must admit, I was slightly sort of wary about playing this, doing a recording of this, because I thought it was good fun to just chuck out your cell and whatever. And I thought, do I want to do a recording of this? And then I started thinking, yeah, I feel like the solar system's quite easy and quite beatable. Well, I don't know if I watched back in a couple of videos, other people playing it, and they seem to cruise quite comfortably into victory, and then that's what I seem to remember. But I think that kind of didn't wasn't correct, because I can't remember the few games that I played. I've not recorded my wins, losses, or anything like that. But I decided to play a couple of games before I'd done this recording. In fact, I wasn't sure I was doing the recording. I was just playing it by myself. And the bot kicked my butt twice. So the second game is really interesting because it got down to the last three cards. There was only three cards left, which I hadn't seen before. And the problem, though, I think it's one of these games where you don't want the game to go on too long. The bot gains too much. It's one of these where the bot not so much cheats. Yeah, it does cheats a little bit. I'll talk about it in a minute. The big thing is the bot can do is basically buy a card and play a card, and that's one action. Well, for us to do that, it's two actions, and you only get two actions a turn. So if the bot buys a card, plays a card, and buys a card, plays a card, in its turn, it's gaining two more actions really to what you've got. So that's what you're up against. I think that's the main thing you're up against. So yeah, and the bot it beat me twice. And I tried my hardest to do something about it, but couldn't happen. So yeah, let's do a playthrough of this. I thought I'd go through the setup. I don't know if this is really that. There's other good videos here going through this setup. I suppose the card setup is a bit tricksy, really. So I thought I'd maybe go through that. Here's the setup. First of all, hang on. Let's have a little bit of introduction to the game. I think, yeah, we should. Let's at least see what we're talking about here. PAX Pamir second edition. Right, in PAX Pamir, each player assumes the role of a 19th century Afghan leader attempting to forge a new state after the collapse of the Durrani Empire. Western histories often call this period the Great Game, because of the role played by the Europeans who attempted to use Central Asia as a theatre for their own rivalries. In this game, those empires are viewed strictly from the perspective of the Afghans, who sought to manipulate the interloping Ferengi, which is foreigners, for their own purposes. In terms of gameplay, Pax Pamir is a pretty straightforward tableau builder. Players will spend most of their turns purchasing cards from a central market and then playing those cards in front of them in a single row called a court. Playing cards adds units to the game's map and grants access to additional actions that can be taken to disrupt other players and influence the course of the game. That last point is worth emphasising. Okay. Though everyone is building their own row of cards, the game offers many ways for players to interfere with each other, both directly and indirectly. To survive, players will organise into coalitions. In the game, these coalitions are identified chiefly by their sponsors. Two of the coalitions, British and Russian, are supported by European powers. Third coalition, Afghan, is backed by nativist elements who want to end European involvement in the region. Throughout the game, the different coalitions will be evaluated with a special event card called a dominance check. Is resolved. If a single coalition has a commanding lead during one of these checks, players loyal to that coalition will receive victory points based on their influence in that coalition. However, if Afghanistan remains fragmented during one of these checks, players will receive victory points based on their personal power base. Okay, so there's an introduction. Now, a lot of the things talking about players, obviously, this is just a solo game. We do get to play against an AI called the Wakhan. Wakhan, Wakhan, I think it is. Yes. And it's quite simple. But it's pretty powerful. Like I said, the big boost to it is that's the big cheat, if you like. It gets to buy a card and play a card for one action, whereas we can only buy a card for one action or play a card for one action. It gets to do both. That's a big part about it. So let's just go into the setup. I'm not going to. Yeah, I'll talk about things as we go. I'm not a big rules teacher, but I say that, but then watch back more recent times where I'm actually seem to be sort of trying to teach the game in my own kind of way. So the setup, starting favoured suit. Yeah, but I'm not going to go through all things like that until they come up. Pax Pamir begins in a period of great political upheaval. Ayub Shah, I might get a lot of these pronounced. I'll probably not try and pronounce some of the card names. Anyway, Ayub Shah, the last of the Durrani emperors, has just been deposed. A region once unified is now on the verge of total collapse, and local authorities are taking the initiative. To represent this political climate, place the favoured suit marker on the space next to the political suit. Right, we'll come back to this. There's 4 suits in the game: political, intelligence, drawing a blank, and military. Oh my, I can't remember that one. Can't remember the name, but anyway. So it starts on political, right? And then let's just carry on with the setup, right? So because setting up the cards is maybe something that you could get caught out with a bit. Although, to be honest, the rulebook is quite clear about how you do it. If you just follow it, it's fine. So we shuffle the court cards and we create 6 face-down piles of court cards, each consisting of 5 cards, plus 1 card per player. So we're playing with 2 players, there's me and Wakhan. So we're going to have 5 cards plus 2 cards, so 7 cards in each pile. The remaining court cards will not be used this game. So there's where you get some good randomness in it. There's 100 court cards, by the way. So we're going to use, 6 sevens. Oh my. 42, is it? As you probably know, my math's not good, but I think it's 42. So, and then, right, well, let's do that first. So you've got, and it's showing you there, these are the court cards. So you might 6 piles of 5 plus n is the number of players, right? So 7. So 6 piles of 7 cards. There's 100 court cards. So I'm going to make 6 piles of 7 cards here. Right, okay, so there we go. We've got 6 piles of 7 cards. Let's see, I'm pretty sure that's 42. So the rest of these, so you can see there's a big pile of cards. Well, it's 100 cards, so 42 less than our 58, isn't there? So 58 cards not getting used every time you play the game this way anyway. If you play it with more players, you're going to use more of the cards. Right, and then we do, we remove the 4 dominance check event cards from the other event cards and place one each in the 4 rightmost piles. So these are the dominance check cards. So one of these in 1, 2, 3, 4 piles. It's these cards here. They're event cards. They're part of the event deck. There's 4 of them. They all do the same thing. These are the scoring cards. So we put one of these in this pile, this pile, this pile, and this pile. So you can see that we're not going to do a check for, well, at least 14 cards, but there's some events to kick in here as well. So, yeah, let's not count these numbers up just yet because we've got the event cards, right? And then we shuffle the remaining event cards, which are these, and we're going to shuffle these. There's 12 more of these. And we place 2 in the second pile from the left and 1 in each of the remaining 4 piles to the right. To its right, 6 remaining event cards will not be used in the game. So again, you're taking some of the events are not going to be involved. And just looking at that there, you can see there's going to be 2 event cards in this pile, and then 1 event in that, 1 event in that, 1 event in that, 1 event in that. Okay, so I've shuffled up the events. So we get, get them on a bit shuffle, right, and a cut. Right, so 2 are going in here, 1, 2, so that's actually 9 cards in here, isn't it? Yeah, because this didn't get a dominance check card, and that's 7 cards, so you got 16, and then there's going to be 1 event card in each of the rest, 1, 1, 1, 1, so 16, 17, so I think it's like 17 or 18 cards before you're going to see the next, the first dominance check card, right? So, and then once you've done all that, I'm going to shuffle each of these piles up, and then this is going to be the very bottom pile, this is going to be on top of this is going to be on top of that, this is going to be on top of that, etc., right? So let me go and sort that out. Okay, that's all the things that I just said done, and that's the stack cards, and obviously we don't shuffle that because we shuffle each individual pile just to randomize the different parts, right? And then we are going to create the initial market. So in Pamir, cards enter play through a market. The market is an array of 12 face-up cards arranged in a grid of 2 rows and 6 columns. During the setup, create this market by drawing cards from the draw deck and filling each market column top row first, right? I've seen some people doing this slightly wrong. Again, it's probably not a big deal, but I'm very fussy about how cards come out. So top row first, starting with the leftmost column, then place the draw deck to the right of the market, right? So, yeah, I've seen some people do it like card here, card here, card here, card here, but to me that reads top row first and then bottom row. I mean, hopefully that's right, but so here we go. Right, I'm just going to fill the market, these cards, and yeah, okay, probably could have paused here, but you know my videos are going to be long anyway, so. Okay. And then the rest of the cards are left. Right. Take player pieces, give each player a set of 11 cylinders. Yeah, I've got 3, 6, 9, 10. There's 10 cylinders there, and then the other cylinder is your scorer. And then this is a Wakhan. So he's playing red, we're playing the yellow. We also get four rupees. Rupees are the currency. So 4 for the Wakhan. They do use the money. And 4 for us. And the rest of the money is in a... Oops. Right, no, they don't get 5. They don't need 5. The rest of the money's just set aside. And then you've got the coalition blocks. These are here. And they're in this nice little tray. And yeah, the reason they're in this tray is it's quite important to watch for how many blocks are in play. And you can do this by just keeping these intact, you know. For a coalition to become dominant, they need 4. They need to have 4 more than each of the other. So let's just say we had these 4 Russian armies out there somewhere, or 4 Russian blocks anyway. Then they would become the dominant coalition because they've got 4 more. If there was 1 Afghan army out, then they've only got 3 more than them. Even though they've got 4 more than the British, they've only got 3 more, so they're not dominant. So that's basically how that works. We'll go into that a bit more as things move on. But yeah, it's quite a good, and these components are amazing. These are really good. They're I don't know what material. I think it tells you but they're really quite nice components. And the map is, although on the back of this board, because you don't really need this board, you could just set out 6 cards, 2 rows of 6 cards. On the back of this is a map as well on the cardboard variant, and you'll see this is a cloth map. But I think it's cool. It works. It's all right. So, and I quite like having the cards on the track here as well. So. Right, okay, starting loyalty. So starting with a random player, proceeding qualities, each player adjusts their loyalty. So we've got to decide what loyalty we're going to start on. We could be Russian, we could be British, we could be Afghan. And yeah, that's what we've got to decide before the game begins. The Wakhan themselves, take that way. The Wakhan themselves they do things slightly differently. They're basically loyal to each coalition. Look, I'm not going to go into it too much. They don't have a loyalty dial. They don't have this. This is their AI deck, which I've shuffled up and set. This is where they put their gifts and their prizes go underneath. This is a priorities when they go to select cards, and obviously this is going to be what they do with their cards. Okay, so we need to select our starting loyalty, so it's worthwhile having a look at the market to maybe see what we might want to do there. So yeah, so it's the cards, this is where things happen, right? And this is where the big strategies are going to come in. This is where some people are going to comment on my lack of taking the right card and doing the right thing. There's a lot to look at here, and you know how bad my AP is without having to sort of sit and study each card. These are special sort of it's not special events, is it? Special actions that they have that are set in. These are all the cards. Look, I'm not going to... Go and watch Ricky. Ricky explains the whole game. He's got playthroughs out there explaining all the rules to the solo side of things and how the Wakhan works. And there's others out there as well. So I'd rather just play the game and talk about things as I go rather than try to explain everything. Right, initially, Patriot-wise, there's two British. You can see the pink band there. The only two Patriots out there, well, the only Patriots out there are these two British Patriots. So you might be tempted to think, well, why you start as British maybe. The thing is, the Wakhans, whatever you choose here, the Wakhan will do things not to benefit what you've chosen. So I think probably the best strategy is not to pick the one that you think you might want to be. Because if we purchase and play this card, then we automatically change our loyalty to British. So it's a sort of little gamey way of starting things by sort of saying, yeah, I'd quite like... Now, the thing is, the Wakhan could easily play this card, and possibly both of them, and then you're left feeling kind of silly because you wanted to be... But I'm not going to start British, that's the thing, but I'm thinking I'd like to maybe move into British, buy this card and move into British, probably. Possibly. I'm sure there's loads of other cards there that... the other thing I suppose to think about is gaining control in a territory. Actually, there's only one card there that can do that, isn't it? This one, because this symbol here means place a tribe. This other one here means place a spy. So, but tribes gain you control of regions. There's some other conditions, obviously, but I'll get to that. So that's the only one that would gain you control of a region, and it's quite far down the track there. Now, we only start with how you purchase cards, as you've got to place a coin on each. You've got to spend one on each card. If I like to buy that card, it would cost me 4 rupees. I need to put one on there, one on there, one on there, one on there, and then I get that card. I've got 4 rupees. I could do that. That seems a bit expensive for a first turn play. There's some other things that mess about with how you spend coins and what you can do. If you've ever put a coin on a card, you can never purchase the card that turn. Because remember, you get 2 actions, so I couldn't do 1, 2, 3, 4, buy that, and then say, right, I'm going to buy this now, because it's got one of my coins that I've played that turn. So, yeah. So, yeah, look, Grant, we're just trying to see what starting loyalty. You know what, I'm going to just leave myself at... Actually, the other thing is, there's a lot of Russian prizes, isn't there? These are prizes. They're on the bottom of the card. So whenever you betray a card, destroy it, you can take the prize from beneath. And it adds towards your loyalty towards that coalition. So let's go Russian then. Because if then for some reason the 2 British Patriots get picked, then there's lots of prize cards out there at least. So that are in Russian, you know. Okay. That's me set that, and I think we're good to go. 23 minutes. Yeah, I'd like to just get a quick part of doing something here. Yeah, and again, I don't want to go through explaining everything. I'm not sure where to put this. I had things set up slightly differently. I had that, ideally, I suppose you want that either above the map or below the map, but I think for recording purposes it felt like it was better here. But the Wakhan's court can be huge, because it just cheats a lot. So there's going to be a lot of space needed here. My court over here is going to be here. My hand size I'll just keep further down out of the way. Wakhan doesn't have any hand as such, it just has court cards, because it doesn't put them in his hand, it just puts them straight into play. And yeah, maybe I can... that's the court cards. Maybe I can just put the Wakhan stuff up here then, out of the way. You know what? drop that down. I think what I'll do is I'll put it there. And then we've got that and that. That looks pretty good. And then we can put her core along here. Yeah, I like that. That sort of works. Okay, so the Wakhan starts. We've got everything set up, yeah? I think so. These are all the tokens. These are all the ruler tokens. So if you gain control of a region, you would take this ruler token. Some people, you might see in the videos where they put on top of it rather than removing it. I've been removing them. I find that's okay. But when you remove it, there's a risk you forget to put it back. And yeah, I've been guilty of that as well. But I think you generally realise that you should have put it back. And it doesn't cause a great headache, I don't think. Right, so Wakhan's going first. So what we do is we draw the first card here, and it gets placed here, and it has a couple of arrows here that look at this card that you've just revealed. You can see the red arrow there at the top, which says bottom right. So if there's any priorities, it's going to pick the bottom. The bit that says right means that if you pick a card, it's going to go to the right side of their court rather than the left. And obviously, if the red arrow was down here, it would want to pick from the top. And when you say bottom and top, we're talking about the market here. So this is the top and this is the bottom, clearly. And then the other black arrow there is pointing at the... what is that? It's a 3, isn't it? Yeah, pointing at the 3 there. It's a little tricky to see when you've got a big pile of cards and only one card here, but you can see, yeah. So it's pointing at the 3s. So it's sort of priorities are looking at the bottom card on the 3 column. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to come to this in a second, and I don't know why so bottom row and 3 columns. So it's looking at this card here. That's what that's saying. However, there are some instructions to look at first before we start messing with that. But the fact it's not got any cards in play, it can't really do anything else. So this is its actions. Now, these are its 3. This is its pragmatic loyalty, I think they call that. So who it's going to be loyal to this turn. Now, it won't match myself, so I'm showing Russian. So if Russian was first here, it would skip that and it would go to the next one. However, Russian is not the first choice. It goes from left to right. So it's going to be Afghan is going to be his pragmatic loyalty. If it builds any roads, builds any armies, does anything with any armies in battle, it's going to use Afghan. That's going to be its choice, right? Okay. So it's got 3 actions here. Where are my tweezers? I need my tweezers. Right, it's got three actions on every card. I think they've all got 3. Is there maybe some that are more? I don't know. It always has the radicalise action, but right. So, oops. So the first action says if political cards are favoured, radicalise the highest ranked economic card. Well, actually, here's me saying that we're probably just going to go down to radicalise. Well, that does actually apply because political cards are favoured, so it's going to radicalise the highest ranked economic card. And just saying what's meaning here, political card, that's a favoured suit, so political cards are favoured. And so here's the instructions for playing with the Wakhan. You can see it's pages 16, 17 and 18 on the rulebook here. That's just the main rulebook. So it's got 3 pages telling you about the general rules. There's a pragmatic loyalty, which I was trying to describe there. There's always the leftmost loyal on the AI card. You've also got to remember that if you're looking at a card that's a patriot, it's obviously wanting to place the specific blocks of its patriot. Like what I'm saying here is this card here wants to place pink blocks, and that's the reason it's got pink blocks. But if the Wakhan takes this, it doesn't place pink blocks. If we took it, we'd have to place pink blocks, British blocks, would also then become loyal to the British automatically, and that would then change this to British, and we'd have to place pink blocks. But if this is a card that the Wakhan had at the time, it would choose to pick Afghan blocks, unless we were Afghan. If we were Afghan, it would place pink blocks because it would go to the next one along. Okay. And yeah, I mean, there's, like I say, just 3 pages that describe the actions, the Wakhan's actions. So, the core action, radicalise is a big action. When it takes a radicalised action, she will purchase 1 card from the market and then attempt to play it immediately. This counts as a single action. This is where it gets to really mess you about, and that's why I suppose getting things done a bit quicker is probably better, because if it keeps radicalising cards, it's going to keep beating you. It's going to keep going in front of you, like so. So the first thing there. So we are going to radicalise a card here, but there is a specific instruction. So we follow them, and it says ties are decided by the cheapest card in the market with the highest card number breaking any further ties. Now there are some sort of rulesy bits that you might watch some videos and see some things done slightly differently, and yeah, there's maybe some slight grey areas. Again, it's a game that's got a FAQ out there, which I should have printed out before we started here, but I think I'm pretty switched on to things, so we should be alright. So it's 1 to radicalise the card. Let's remind ourselves. The highest ranked economic card. Yeah, that's the one. That's the name I couldn't remember. Economic is this. Right, so highest ranked. Now you can see the little stars are then rank. This is rank 1. This is rank 2. That's rank 2. And that one's rank 1. So it's one to try and get either this card or this card. Right? Now, remember, it's going to cost 2 rupees to buy that one. It's only going to cost 1 rupee to buy that one. It's got 4 rupees, so I can purchase any one of the 2. However, it says ties are decided by the cheapest card in the market with the highest card number breaking any further ties. So these 2 are the highest ranked, and this is going to be one. This is going to be 1 cheaper. It's only cost her 1 rupee to purchase that, so it's going to cost her 2 rupees to purchase that. So what she does is she places a rupee here. She purchases this card. Now it would go to the right side of her court. However, she's not got a court yet anyway. So we'll just plonk that in the middle. She's going to have plenty more to join her soon. Okay, so, and this is 1 action, but like I say, she gets to purchase and play as 1 action. So we do these actions. These are when you put a card into play, you carry out these actions first. So that's what we're doing first. These are roads. She's going to place 2 roads in Persia, and Persia because that's what the card is. And then, well, you'll see that Persia has borders with Transcaspia and Herat. So in actual fact, that's where she's going to place 1 and 1 and 1 and another. But to decide if there was other options, we look at on the card here, the symbols here. So we start with the star. Well, Persia is the star, so she can't have a road to herself, basically. The circle is too far away. It's not bordering Persia. The square one is not bordering Persia. That one is bordering Persia, but it's Herat, and then that one is then the next one, Transcaspia, that's bordering Persia. So we kind of knew what was happening. Right, and then remember, pragmatic loyalty is going to be Afghan. We are not Afghan, so she's happy with placing Afghan roads in Persia. So we're going to take 2 Afghan roads. And one's going to go between Persia and Herat. That was the first one. And then another's going to go between Persia and Transcaspia. So, and these all go towards the dominant coalition. Remember, you've got to have 4 more than any other. Well, that's a good start. She's got 2. 2 more and she becomes dominant, and then things start happening. Well, or score-wise, that's what you're wanting. Right, what's the next icon here? The next icon is leverage, which basically means she gets a loan from the bank of 2 rupees. So, and then if this card ever goes away, gets discarded, she's got to pay the 2 rupees back. So these 2 rupees get added to her supply. So she's doing all right. And then finally, she's going to change the dominant, favoured suit. She's going to change the favoured suit to intelligence. So that then means not political anymore, intelligence. And these are what give the main thing with these is where you can get free actions from. Any cards in your court that have intelligence right now can be counted as bonus actions, and they count free. Each one of these also have a relevance to your cards in your court, which is sort of spoken about there. So if you have any political cards in your hand, your court size is 3 cards, so you can only have 3 cards in your court. However, if you've got any political stars, for each political star adds 1 more card. Right? And then intelligence cards in your court, you can only have 2 cards in your hand. This doesn't affect the AI, obviously, this one, because she doesn't have a hand. But for us, we can have 2 cards in our hand plus the amount of intelligence stars in our court. Right? This one gives the amount of military cards you have on your court is counts towards final ties if you're looking at final score. And then this one is a tax shelter. So if you're going to be taxed, then you've got the amount of economic stars in your court protects you from tax, basically. The one other thing to talk about is if the favoured suit is ever military, you can see there be 2 times there. If it's ever military, it means that any purchases from the market are doubled. So if you're spending 1 rupee per card, placing 1 rupee per card, you got to place 2 rupees per card. So right, so put that back there. So right, and then that was her. She changed the suit to intelligence. Right, and then the card, civic improvements, there's some flavour text here. I'm not going to try and go through that because I'm sure I'm going to start struggling with certain names of things. Right, so, and there are 2 things here. This is a special action that's on the card. And this is just the normal action that you can pay for or use. But let's look at the special action. It says infrastructure. After you take the build action, you place 1 additional block in a legal space. So it doesn't have to be the build action from this card. It just says when you take the build action. So if you're building a road, you place. Hang on, she doesn't build roads, or does she? No, the Wakhan only builds armies, I think. So if she was building an army, or 2 armies, or 3 armies, maybe, because the build action here, you spend 2 rupees to build 1 army, or road, 4 rupees to build 2, combination of either, and then 6 rupees to build 3, combination of either. So even if she built 3 armies, she would get to spend place an additional 1 army, so she'd place 4 armies, yeah? Okay, so it's pretty strong. That's good. Right, and then that's her action, her first action done. Right, so we now go back to the card and see what the second action is. It wants to radicalize the highest ranked political card. Okay, so it's done with... Yeah, actually, I think she can, yeah. So that's quite an interesting start. Normally, you'd probably not be able to do these things and just go to the normal standard radicalize, but yeah. So radicalize the highest ranked political card. So we look in the market. Now remember, she can't purchase this card here because she's put a coin on it, right? Put a rupee on it this turn. Now, political cards, well, there's only one in the market, and it's here. And you know what? She's got 5 rupees. This is going to cost her 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's going to buy that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the only political card on the market. So, and yeah, she's allowed to buy it. I'm making a mess here. So, and this is also going to gain her. Right, now this, because she's got a court now, we do need to look at this. And the red arrow is at the top bit, where it says bottom, and it's got right in brackets, which means this card gets placed to the right of her court. Because you can't move these about or anything like that. Same for us. When we place a card in our court, you're tied into where we place it. Right, so what's this one going to do? What's a political card? So this is a tribe, and it's going to go in Transcaspia. Again, the region's Transcaspia, so that's where it's going to put stuff, right? So it's going to put a tribe in Transcaspia, and that's basically one of these... struggling to find a name for these. Tokens, are they? Or maybe... Anyway, it's going in Transcaspia. So Transcaspia is here. Now, whenever you've got a tribe and also the most armies and tribes, then you gain control of that region. So she gains control of Transcaspia. I will put that down here. And that will help. Now, if I ever want to do anything with a Transcaspia card, I've got to pay her money. I've got to pay her a bribe because she's the ruler of that region. So that's the first thing. And then she's going to place an army in Transcaspia. And remember, it's an Afghan army. So we come back here. There's the third boat coming out. And that goes... Right, that signifies an army, and laying it down between signifies the road, right? So she places an army in Transcaspia, and then finally this one, you can see it's sort of like the tribe, but without the button top, and then a card sort of underneath. And yeah, that's what that means, is that this is a spy. So you place this on... Now, this has to go in a card, and has to go in a card, a Transcaspian card, in anybody's court. Now, without going into priorities just yet, she would technically want to put on a card. I had a Transcaspia card in my court, but I don't have any. She's got to put it on a Transcaspia card. That's the only one in place. She puts it on there, right? Right, she's got a special action on this as well, which says Savvy Operator. This card is always treated as if it were the favoured suit. Well, that kicks in right away, actually. Oh, that's going to... Ah, she's not got enough money. She's only got 1 rupee left, which is kind of annoying because I think she would betray this card. Yeah, I think she would. Let me try and explain that. Well, let's finish off where we are. So she's played that. That's her second action, right? So that's her 2 actions done. So now she wants to look at any bonus actions. The favoured suit is intelligence. So she's looking for intelligence cards down here. Now, none of these are intelligence cards. However, we've just read this card which says, this card is always treated as if it were in the favoured suit. So this is classed as an intelligence card for that purpose. So it can take this action here. This is a betray action. And then, well, let's just read here. Here's the card-based actions for the Wakhan, right? So, betray. Wakhan will betray the highest priority card with a loyalty prize, where she also has a spy, including those in her court. She will always take the loyalty prize. Well, this has a loyalty prize, right? And she's got a spy on it. So, it's in her court, right? Okay, so she would actually betray this card. Fortunately, it costs 2 rupees to do that, and she's only got 1 rupee. So she's not going to do that. And she's just going to ignore that. She can't do it. Which is a bit of a bummer. I think I would have quite liked that to go away. Because not only that card goes away, okay, she gets a Russian prize, but her spy goes away, and not only that, if you've ever got no political cards of the region that you own, then you have to remove any tribes, and vice versa. If your last tribe gets removed from a region you own, then you have to discard any political cards related to that region. Yeah, hopefully I'm explaining that properly. Okay, so she's not going to do that. That's the end of her turn. Now she needs to check her court. There's some cleanup. Yeah, it's on the player card here. We get cleanup. There's the turn structure there, isn't it? So for simple purposes, yeah, you discard down to your court size, which is 3 plus the amount of political stars you have. And you can see her court size is actually now 4. And she's only got 2 cards on her court, so she's fine. The Wakhan doesn't care about hand size because it doesn't have hand. And then you resolve events in the leftmost column of the market. So if there was any event cards in this column, we would resolve these. And then we fill the market as the last action of the cleanup phase. So like I say, her cards are fine, her hand she doesn't care about. So we now just nudge all these cards down. This goes down, down, down. These go down, and then we refill these 2 cards. There we go. No more Patriots, but there we go. So pretty strong start to her. She's like got 3 Afghan pieces on the board, so actually almost dominant. Taking control of Transcaspia, got a spy out there. Yeah, it's pretty good. But like I say, this would taken us 4 actions to do what she's done. That's where she gets to sneak about a bit. Right, I see this is at 48 minutes, and what do you know? I suppose I was sort of introducing the game a little and trying to explain the setup a bit. So, shall we take a one shot for a... No, actually, I don't think I will. I like to leave the game where it's my turn next. Well, sometimes you've got markers and whatever, so I think I will just cut that as a small sort of part. Well, it's almost 50 minutes, kind of. Yeah, it's probably best because I'm at the end of the night here. I just thought I'd get this kicked off. I wasn't sure. I thought I was maybe going to play another game, and I thought, let's just record this once. Here we go. Because, like I said initially, I thought, it's going to be a breeze. We're going to cruise through this, and it's not going to be a problem. And then I played 2 games, and I got beat both times. So, but you can see, like I said, she's doing this. We could, in our turn, we could purchase 2 cards, but they're going to be in our hand. They're not going to be in our court. They're not going to be in play. Or we could purchase 1 card and put into play. So you can see she's getting double the advantage there. As for taking actions, that doesn't. This is where our strong bit is being able to the radicalize action. where she purchases and plays the card. And she's going to do that a lot throughout the game. And that's why, she's placed 3 pieces right away. If, the best I'm going to do out there is maybe possibly going to take this and then come up myself to British and place 2 British armies in Kandahar. But that's me purchasing and playing that card all in a one-off. But that's what you're up against. You've got to, that's the way it works. Right, okay. I will leave that for the night, I think, and hopefully get back tomorrow and get really started into this. It's not a terribly long game. I don't expect this to take too many parts, even by my standards. So, yeah, okay. I'll be back tomorrow. Cheers.